Okay, so let's say you want to add a vector that's 40 meters at 10 degrees plus a vector that's 30 meters at 55 degrees. And you don't have a ruler or a protractor, so you're kind of out of luck if you want to sketch these things out accurately. But that's okay because we can do this mathematically. So what we need to do is, first, we do want to sketch these out. We're not going to measure it exactly, but we just want to sketch it out to get an idea what it looks like. So we get our 40 meters at kind of a low angle, 30 meters is a little bit shorter, at a steeper angle, a little more than 45 degrees. So we get an idea what it looks like. And with that, we want to sketch in the resultant. Remember, that starts where the first one started and ends where the last one ends. Then after we get that, we want to make a right triangle with the resultant. So we kind of go across the x-axis and up the y-axis to match where the resultant is. And that's really coming from like the x parts of these two vectors. So the blue vector x and the red vector x make up the x of the green resultant, and the blue vector y and the red vector y make up the y of the green resultant. So we can call the blue vector A and the red vector B. And what we want to do is we want to get what that overall x and the overall y values are. We're going to call those Rx and Ry. Well, AX is going to be A cosine theta, which is 39. Again, that's how far the blue vector comes over in the x direction. And AY, A sine theta, will be 40 times sine theta is 7. That's how far up the blue vector goes. And we'll do the same thing with the B vector and get its x value is 17. And we get its y value to be 24.6. Rx, when we look at that, is going to be AX plus BX, how far the blue goes over plus how far the red. And the blue goes over 39, the red goes over 17. Ry is going to be AY plus BY, how much the blue goes up plus how much the red goes up. So AY is 7, BY is 24.6, and we add those together and we get the x and y, the resultant, to be 56 and 31.6. So now what we need to do is we need to do the Pythagorean theorem with those numbers to actually get the magnitude of the green resultant vector. So we do the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared plus c squared, but in this case we're doing r squared equals rx squared plus ry squared. And going through the math with that, we find out that r is 64. Then we need to use the inverse tangent to get the angle. So remember, the tangent is opposite over adjacent, which I always do as y over x. And if we do the inverse tangent of both sides, we find out that theta is the inverse tangent of y, which is 31.6, over the x, which is 56, which gives us an angle of 29 degrees. And since this is a quadrant 1, we could just write above the x-axis, and that will get the person oriented in the correct direction.